How is everyone doing today? I pray all is well. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this. This will be a continuation of last week. So if you had a chance to watch that, I appreciate you. I thank you, because if you watch that video, then you know I said that I'm gonna hold off on the Baphomet until this week. Otherwise, that would have been like an hour video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this thing. So, little background. When it comes to the Baphomets, they've been around since the 1100s. It actually first appeared in a Crusader's letter, that he sent out, and that was around 1090, around the year 1090. Now, crusades were a bunch of religious wars started, supported, and even directed by the Latin churches in medieval times. Now, this term, meaning the word crusade, it is actually a Mediterranean word, all right? A campaign that dates back to 1096 all the way into 1271. Now, the goal for this was to recover the Holy Land from Islamic religion. My bad. Not Islamic religion. It was to recover it from Islamic rule. During Crusades, the Knights Templar stayed long periods of times in Middle Eastern countries. They became adept with the teachings of Arabian mysticism, brought it back to Europe, where later it became Western occultism. Now, because of this, the church accused the Templars of worshiping an idol. Worshiping an idol. A Muslim idol at that, named Baphomet. Arkham Dural is an author and teacher of Sufi mysticism and magic. In his book that he wrote, that is called A History of Secret Societies, he argues that the word Baphomet comes from a Arabic word. How you say that word is Habu Hafamet. Habu Hafamet. That word means the father of understanding. Dr. Hugh Schofield. I'm going to put their names down here. I don't know how to say their names, but Dr. Hugh S. Because his last name start with an S. He worked on translating the Dead Sea Scroll as an expert on Jewish cipher. And that was called the Atbash or Atbash cipher. Don't worry, I'm gonna tie all this together. It should be already starting to tie in, but I'm gonna tie it in all together. Just lend me a few minutes of your time. Now, he claims that when one uses the cipher on the word Baphomet, it transfers, however you want to say it, into the Greek word Sophia, which means knowledge or wisdom. It can also be synonymous with God or goddess. Now, I'm explain in a little bit of detail how this cipher works, but understand that these people are being accused of the Templars was accused of being occults. And then you got these people who are writing books, okay? They're writing these books and they're telling you the meaning of these words. Now, anybody, anything that is not with God, is not with Yahweh, it is a direct opposition. And what does the opposition do? Look, what does Satan do? Satan is upset because he couldn't be God. So he does everything that he can do to imitate God, but he is not God. So in his world, and the people that work for him, they're nothing more than people who are trying to imitate the same structure that God has in order. So that's why the systems that I talked about last week, that's why the false prophets, and that's why Baphomets are people who have aligned themselves with Satan, the heir of this world, partnership to spread everything that is opposite of what God wants you to know, wants you to understand. They want you to think that you yourself are a God. No, we are made in God's image. We are not God. Oh, this is helping you with becoming oneness. No, it's not doing nothing. It's not doing none of that. What it is a trick. It's a trick of the enemy. And people absorb this. They suck it up like a sponge. Oh, I'm becoming one with God. Oh, I'm tapping into the earth. I'm becoming one with my chakra. No, you becoming one with Satan and all his demons. That's you opening up doors and portals. But I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna go into that because I'm a dive real deep into that. I'm gonna touch on all of it. I'm gonna touch on all that. I'm gonna go even deeper with this Baphomet. Because if you look at the Baphomet, okay, and I'm gonna explain some things a little bit further down in my message, but there are parts on this. There's a 5-point. There's 5 points, like a 5-point star. Okay, the head, the arms, and the legs. Each of them in the body parts got meanings. It has meanings. But this body part is nothing. It has nothing to do with God. That abomination, that's something that a scientist, the scientist that made Frankenstein is what this abomination is. But I digress. We let me get back on topic. Let me get back on topic, man. Now let me tell you how this Atbash cipher works. Okay? So I'm gonna tell you how this works. It is a Hebrew code which substitute the first letter of the alphabet with the last letter of the alphabet, the second letter of the alphabet with the second to last letter of the alphabet, and so on and so on. When you use the word Baphomet and use the Atbash cipher, when you use that, you get the Greek word Sophia. The Hebrew scribes, sage, okay, sage, known as Toneim, which means repeater or teacher, used to write scribes called plowing the field or ox turning. Plowing the field or ox turning. Because when you read it, you're supposed to read right to left the first line, left to right, the second line, and right to left again, the third line. And then it keeps on repeating, zigzag. So that zigzagging is the reason why it was called the serpent way. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. You got the people up here with the coats. Got people over here trying to become one with God and everything. And then you got the way that they read and stuff. Right to left or left to right, right to left to right again. And it's called the serpent's way. Just like a serpent. Just like Satan himself. Boy, he's slick with it. Boy, he's slick with it. And if you not studying God's way and asking him to give you insight in how the enemy try to move, he gonna be slick and slither right on across you, and you gonna miss all this. Now listen to this. And academically speaking, was called bi-directional. But the key thing is, this way was used in many different texts, many different ways, including hieroglyphics. Now, hieroglyphics ain't got nothing to do with God, I'll tell you that. It has nothing to do with God. It don't. Now, let's get on who came up with this image of the Baphomet. I'm gonna tell y'all who that is. We finna get to him. Now, Eliphaz is the French occultist who drew the depiction of the Baphomet in 1861. Now, if you've ever looked at the Baphomet, if you've ever looked at it, like I said, there's 5 points. You got the head, you got one hand like this, you got one hand pointed down, then you got the body. All right, so it's in 5 points. Now let me break this down, okay? I'm gonna break this down to you. In this picture, all right, its head is a goat. Its head is a goat, okay? Its frontispiece, the frontal piece, the frontispiece, okay? It carries a pentagram sign smack dab in the middle of his forehead, right there in the frontal piece, okay? Right there in the frontal piece. This point, this frontal point right here, you know what it's supposed to represent? It's supposed to represent light. Last time I checked, God is light. You know, you got Yahweh, light, Satan, darkness. The pentagram in the forehead is supposed to represent light. Tell me how a goat head on a human body, okay, this is some Frankenstein scientist stuff, but how does a goat's head on a human body with a pentagram in the center of his forehead that represents light, what does that have to do with God? The hands form hermetism. Stuff is foolish. Is demonic and foolish. This hand on that ugly creature that was created, okay? This hand, it goes by the name of Chaz. And that hand pointing up is pointing up to the white moon, while the other hand pointing down is called Gibbera, Goobera. Where these names come from, first of all, I don't know. The hands pointing like this are supposed to represent the balance. of justice and mercy. Thank God. God got all the balance. But you got a made up demonic creature that is depicted as keeping a balance between mercy and justice. With a goat head, Matt. A goat head with a pentagram in the head that represents light. It's supposed to be the balance between mercy and justice? And the stuff that people do, there are people in today's world, the stuff that they do, the stuff that they get into, it correlates and ties back all the way to this. But let them tell it. Let them tell it. No, this is helping become one. It's helping us, get in tune with God, the higher power. What God? What higher power? Because it's not God. It's not Yahweh. It's not Yeshua. It's not his Holy Spirit. It don't line up with it. So what God are y'all getting in tune with? Who, the God in y'all? Because there's a lot of folks that's going around here. I'm becoming one of God. We are gods. No, you are not a God. If you were a God, then why raise the dead? Raise the dead if you God. Give life and death if you God. Do everything that the true living God do. If you are God, then do it. Otherwise, sit down. Sit down. Everybody trying to be God. But yet y'all couldn't even fathom what God has to deal with. Y'all not even intrigued with the stuff that he has to deal with. Yet y'all want to call yourselves a God because y'all understand this little bottom dweller, bottom of the barrel feeder knowledge that y'all getting. What knowledge are y'all getting? And who's giving it to y'all? Y'all self God, y'all self-absorbed. If you look up Eliphaz Levi, you can understand the foolishness of this, as well as understand the foolishness of which each body part means. This has a goat's head. One side of his body is female. One hand is female. The other hand is male. It doesn't have male body parts. Where the male body part supposed to be is not there. It has two breasts. What? All this stuff got a meaning. It all got meaning. Go look at this foolishness. But what? But look it up. Look it up. This picture, the picture that he drew is known as the Great Picture. It's known as the Great Picture because one seeks enlightenment. One seeks enlightenment through the union that opposes within. What type of foolery does this make? It makes absolutely no sense. I understand what it means, but just listen to it. That makes no sense at all. This Baphomet they're trying to portray it as God. It's enlightenment and balance and justice. And then you do this, when one seeks the enlightenment to oppose what's within, you're getting there. What? You getting where? You're getting closer to hell. That's where you're getting. You getting a first class ticket there. A first class ticket there. But I'm gonna do my best to help you. I'm gonna do my best to educate you. I'm gonna do my best to tear down all this nonsense. But the Baphomet is depicted as an androgynous, initiating a quest, their quest, to becoming one. To becoming one or returning to God. This is why God instructed me. He give me everything that I get. He gives me everything that I get. Because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't know this. I wouldn't check for this stuff. But it's only when it's given to me that I go look it up and seek and get more stuff. And I be like, oh, I get the picture now. I see why you doing what you doing with me. These corrupt systems, false prophets, Baphomets. I'm bringing it all. I'm going to shed so much light on this that at the end of the day, it's like, hey, if you choose to align yourself with this type of stuff, it's not because you have not been warned, you haven't received information, the information isn't out there. It's just that you're not willing to go look for it. But I'm gonna go deeper in this Baphomet. I got some more stuff on this, but see, I just begin to dive. It's like a diver diving into the water, and their arms are in the water, the arms and head, but you got the whole body still out the water. I got some more stuff. I'm gonna tie in this Baphomet and androgynous. I'm gonna tie all that in with the other stuff that I got. I got more. I just gotta layer this. It's like a cake. A cake come in layers. You can't just slap everything down. Hey, I'm off this thing. Until next time, you know the drill.